Hi. So I figured that I would make a video basically about like a tattoo tour and some of the things and energies behind my arm because I'm getting ready to do a massive blackout that's like a stained glass on it. Um so I kind of like wanted to go into depth about like the history of my tattoos and kind of the reason why I'm doing that whole blackout process. So I guess we could start at the very fucking beginning because I started getting tattooed like super, super young. Like I think I was like 16 or 17 the first time I got tattooed. Um, I was in high school. And I remember like giggling, laughing the first time I got it. And it was actually by like an artist that's super famous now. He was tattooing minors back then in the early 2000s. But anyway, so that kind of like cracked open the whole like me getting tattooed. Um, how I ended up getting tattooed in the first place was I wanted my belly button pierced, and my dad said, I would rather you get tattooed than get that kind of piercing. And I was like, oh, I never thought of that. So now I'm going to start getting tattooed all the fucking time. Um, and then anyway, fast forward a few years, I actually got this one first, which was just this girl. And then it later got added on to expand because I got this so young. I think I was like 19. I was 19 when I got this. And she was like up here more, probably up if I have my arm down. It was like up to here. Like skin expands and changes with you. So like as I gained weight, as I got older, this kind of like moved down my arm a bit. So we got this like snake neo-traditional like snake guy going around it. This was so backstory back in the old days of tattooing before like the internet was like super big and we were all like super networked. Oh, hi, here's Anya. Before all of that, um there was this dude in like this silver like minivan who would drive to all of the conventions and he would buy different artist sketchbooks for sale, merch, supplies, just like all the things. And he would stop at different tattoo shops. I feel like he always had on a gray sweatsuit. If anybody who is a tattoo artist is watching this and knows what I'm talking about, please, please share because that was such an interesting thing. But at any rate, so this guy like stopped by this tattoo shop that I was not working at this point. Like I was still like, not a tattooer. And what happened? Oh, so my friend who was a co-owner of this tattoo studio who ended up like teaching me how to tattoo later, he ended up buying this like this book, like this sketchbook from one of these artists. And like it was literally like a set, like it was like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And I got the speak no evil one from this sketchbook. Which I didn't know at the time is a total faux pas. Like you don't just like copy right off of somebody's artwork. Actually did come back and bite me in the ass because please get down. Get down. I have a puppy. She's insane. And also, if you haven't noticed, this is going to be a very organic, unedited video. So, hope you love it. My dog has already made her feral appearance, and Anya is just watching me, my cat. But anyway, so back to my story. So I swear it was like not even like 6 months later. I like walked into like Hot Topic. This chick was working there. And it was like weird. She had the same tattoo in exactly the same place. And I was just like, bro. And she's like, yeah, my boyfriend's a tattooer. And he got it out of the sketchbook. And I was like, okay. I thought it was really funny. She didn't, but it's like that's kind of what you get when you copy other people's shit. So, whatever. Um, I have a bunch of those types of tattoos on this arm. Which I didn't like really mention, but part of like the main reason that I wanted to do this blast over like stained glass tattoo was because a lot of the tattoos that I ended up with on this arm were out of pressure from the people who I was being like taught to tattoo by. Um, I started apprenticing in 2006. And it was a way different industry back then. I feel like it was like kind of like this cusp era, sort of from like traditional like mentalities, a buzzword that you guys use, or not you guys, but that people use, is like gatekeeping. There was a lot of that, but I'm kind of for gatekeeping with tattoo industry because it kind of like keeps out like the hot mess that there is. Whatever. It's my feels, dude. I feel like there was a lot more integrity and respect around the craft. Now, like people who are new tattooers are just like tattooing people's faces and throats before they have like, hidden areas tattooed. But it's also like just the it's how things have changed in time. So like things change and like that's great and everything, but it is wild that like it's wildly insane that people like start off with like their throat, their hands, their faces, and then don't have any on their like main body. Like that was sort of like historically speaking the way that it started out. So like at any rate, that's my rant. It's over. I said what I said. I feel what I feel. So anyway, so I had to get a lot of these tattoos because my mentor said, you need more tattoos on your arm so people think that you've been tattooing longer. Because that was a thing. Like you were heavily tattooed if you were a tattooer back in those days. Um, so my mentor was like very, very like traditional. And like a lot of the tattoos that I got were either like traditional renderings or people that like he liked, or just flashed from the tattoo studio that we worked at. um after this tattoo, I believe that the next one that I got was this tattoo. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to stand up here so you can see it better. Says man's ruin. I don't know if this is backwards or not, but this was a tattoo that I drew. It does not look good anymore. I don't know if you can see that face is not so hot anymore. Rockabilly was like super, super in. And my mentor was like a rockabilly like Hunter S. Thompson. He was like literally fucking insane. But thank you for letting me tattoo. So at any rate, I got this tattoo, Man's Ruin. And then quickly that was followed by my next tattoo. I don't know if you can see how that is. Um, I'm not really super proud of these two tattoos. I thought that the ideas were like super fucking cool when I got them. I actually got fired from Applebee's for having this because like some dude that like I dated for a year, like his girlfriend worked there and didn't like me. So she was like, oh my God, like she has a naked girl tattooed on her. And I was like, I really don't fucking want this job. Like, it's fucking cool. You can have the dude, you can have the job. I don't fucking care. I don't know if I'm in a different position altogether, but my dog just like jumped up on my desk, and luckily this whole thing just paused. Everything went flying. Everything went flying off of the desk. It was insane. She's currently being crated for a timeout and a reset. Anyway, So yeah, so I got fired from Applebee's for my man's ruin tattoo, which is like fucking fine. I really did not fucking with that job. Um, However, at the time, this is what happened. So, um, in order to become a tattoo artist, I was not allowed to have any other job. I wasn't allowed to have literally anything. And I actually pleaded for this job because my mom was like, okay, let me back it up a second. I couldn't have any other job. I was 21 at the time. So super, super young. And what ended up happening was without a job, I couldn't afford my rent or anything like that. I ended up like owing a shit ton of money to the electric place, and I ended up defaulting in my rent, and I ended up losing my apartment that I had, that I shared with like my best friend at the time. But she was like, I'm out, I'm moving in with my boyfriend, like this is all you. So I was like squatting in an apartment essentially with no electric, no heat, third floor, top floor. And it was really awful. Like, I was definitely, like, going into, like, a pretty dark place, and I was really, really drinking heavily at that time, like, in a really bad way. And, so I finally my landlord at the apartment's like, "You need to, like, literally get the fuck out. Like, you're evicted, yada, yada." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, go." So I moved everything that I could on my own, which actually resulted in me, like, losing literally fucking everything. And I moved in with my mom and my dad, like, right back in with them, so I'm, like, 21. I'd been living on my own for quite a few years at this point, but I really, really wanted to be a tattoo artist, like, that was it. Like, I would do anything. I already, like, was fighting so hard, like, it was a really hard apprenticeship. It was, like, just quite torturous, to be honest. Um, Everybody I worked with, all the people who owned it were, like, fucking mentally unstable. And, um yeah, so my mom lets me move back in with them, and she was like, "You have to get a job, dude. Like, you can't just, like, not pay car insurance, like, not drive, like, because like, literally my life was being destroyed by becoming a tattooer, like, or an apprentice. Like, they were really, really fucking putting me through the ringer, but this was not uncommon practice, though, as an apprenticeship. Like, they hazed you, they tortured you, they mentally fucking abused you. Like, I'm not saying that that's okay, but like they were trying to like make you prioritize and appreciate a lot more. That being said, I have also had my apprentice, and had an apprentice like years ago, and I did none of those things to my apprentice. Like, and she turned out great, whatever. She knows her history on tattooing. She was an amazing human, is an awesome tattooer now. So like you don't have to do those things, but like I said, it was a really traditional studio, and they really, really push that kind of like mentality and structure with apprenticeships. So back to my story. So I had to get this job, and then basically like I didn't give a fuck about it because all that I cared about was like tattooing and drawing and like leveling up, and not losing my job at like the tattoo studio. So eventually, like, like I said, that fucking girl, told the manager that I had a tattoo on my arm at Apple fucking Bees. What the most, like I can't think of the word. The most hilariously, amazingly epic thing was the dude who fired me was, like, sleeved out in tribal from, like, head to toe, and I was like, "Bro, like, why are you firing me?" I was like, "This is, like, kind of, like, discrimination, you know?" Like, a little bit. And, like, but I just, like, didn't give a fuck. Like, I was just like, "Honestly, like, I do not care about being waitress. I really fucking hate it. Sorry if you're a waitress. That's the worst job I ever fucking had in my life." And I worked at every fucking, like, restaurant in the whole area too, like, it was crazy. So anyway, I got fired from that job, and I just like didn't tell my mom, and I kept on going to like um my apprenticeship and going there and like tracing through so much Cherry Creek Flash. Oh my god. Y'all don't fucking know. Y'all don't know no about no fucking Cherry Creek. You know what though? I feel like Gen Z would get that shit tattooed the fuck out of like on them, like for sure, hands down. Like, no way. No way, no how. Bringing back the barbed wire and like the fucking tribal, even though they call it like sigilism or whatever they're calling it, sigilism, bitch. That is just fucking like tribal with curly cues. Like, stop. So anyway, so I lost the job, and then my mom and dad were just like setting boundaries, tough love, and they fucking threw me out on my ass for getting caught like not having a job and being a fucking functioning human in society. So then cue homelessness. That lasted for, I have no idea. It felt like years of my life, but I think that that was a few months. I would couch surf when I could. I would sleep at the tattoo studio when I could. I would just stay drunk until the next day, like at nighttime, just so that I would like not be thinking about it. So here's the history. Here's part of the reason that I'm sober today. Like people are like, "Oh, like you weren't that bad." Like you don't know the real reason that like I don't drink. It has so much more to do with like the past, and the culmination of things that I um just didn't deal with until I was like in my 30s. So whatever. Um so long story short, I'm homeless. It's terrible. Um, so I got more tattoos on my arm. I think that this one was the next one, and it was supposed to have words in it. It was supposed to say "It's what kills me," but I never got the words. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't. And then this is a wave that was drawn by an artist named Mo Malone, who was, I don't know who the fuck he is. But this thing, so I got, no, I got this tattoo, the It's What Kills Me heart with wings. And then I got this Tony Ciavaro flash that I just never finished because I was like, fuck that shit. And then this spot was blank. So it was like a week apart. That it wasn't even, it was like the same week I got these two tattoos. And then my mentor was like, just put a fucking blood wave there. And like, dude, this tattoo is like super, super, super faded. Like, I mean, I like really hold ink really great. This is red and we use really thick fucking toothpaste, handmade pigment too. But this crusted up so thick with a scab, like the scab was like the thickness of a piece of fucking like scrapple. Sorry, I realized I'm not in the frame. And like it got super super infected because I feel like it was just done not great. And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so then right here, this used to be this like really epic merman right here. Um, that was actually a really funny story. So I took a Sailor Jerry's mermaid lady, and I took this like Tarzan flash and I hodgepodged them together, and I just thought it was like the most hilarious shit ever. And I got it tattooed here. And then I got this koi fish when my friend Kat died. Um and every time that I looked at this tattoo of like you could only see like a little tiny bit. There's like a koi fish under here. That's why there's like scales. But every time I was like looking at that, I was just like really fucking sad. So I decided to go ahead and just like cover up both of these. I think the two, I saw a picture of myself when I was in Las Vegas and I was like, why is there like fish and like things on my arm? Like I had like this vain moment. So I decided to fucking cover it up. And then yes, we have those. Then I got this one. This is like a chrysanthemum. I also feel like this was from an artist sketchbook. Brendan something. I can't remember his fucking name. It was literally 3,000 years ago. He's a famous tattooer too, but I have his artwork stolen and on me as well. And then, so I think that that's all of the main ones. This is supposed to be a flower that turns into like a panther. I've never really liked this tattoo. You can't tell what it is. It was a brown rose at once too. It was really ugly. Um, but yeah, so then the last one, this is the only tattoo on this arm that actually has serious meaning to me and actually like makes me feel something. It is, I can't remember the artist's name anymore because again, this was like probably when I was like 23 that I got this. Oh God, I can't remember his name. He's based out of Sacramento. I actually got this on Day of the Dead. It's like the bride sugar cookie or sugar skull. Um, I've told this story so many times, but I actually like really can't even remember it, which is like really sad. But like I was in Sacramento on Day of the Dead with my ex-husband and like we were frolicking about and there were like little kids selling sugar skulls and because it's like, more there's a lot more like of a Mexican culture out in California and specifically in Sacramento. And so that was really cool to see that being celebrated and everything. And so we got some matching tattoos. I literally just wanted a trinket tattoo, but this amazing guy who I really wish I could remember his name. He was the sweetest dude. I know his last name was Bartlett, I think, or Burnett, something Burnett. He was the sweetest guy ever, and he hooked us up. Um, so yeah, I am really sad about losing this one because it was a really good time. But I am going to take a really good picture of it. Because like literally out of all of the things, and then I also have my apprentice's first tattoo right here. And another artist that was a very good friend of mine, his first tattoo ever. Those are actually really funny because people don't realize how bad you shake the first time you do a tattoo. Like you're just like, oh, I'm gonna be fucking good. It's fine. What happens is like, okay, we'll pretend that this is a tattoo machine. You're like, I'm fine, I'm not shaking. And then as soon as you get to the skin, your hand starts shaking uncontrollably. It's like this magnetic energetic force that when you get close to the skin, you just start like shaking real bad. I don't know anybody in the history of ever who hasn't done that the first time they tattoo. So like if you don't, like you have nerves of fucking steel because both people who did their first tattoo on me and myself included when I did my first tattoo, my first tattoo actually looked exactly like this one. And then at the time I was tattooing more in like a folky style when I was teaching Alex how to tattoo. So she did that one. Um, but those are really, really special to me. So I'm gonna also get really good close-ups of them because yeah, they're just super, super sweet. But to be honest, I feel like it's not fair when you're a tattoo artist, or it didn't used to be fair when you were a tattoo artist. A lot of us just ended up with like really terrible tattoos that don't make like a whole lot of sense. And as far as like, yes, there are memory markers to terrible parts of my life for the most part, excluding these three tattoos. They're anchors to that time for me and to people that I owe nothing to and that I do not um care for. So it's kind of annoying to look at that stuff and be like, I was like pressured into like doing it, but at the same time, I wanted to be tattooed so bad, like it didn't matter. Um, and I was just like very unstable when I was in my early 20s, but like also like who isn't? Um, so it would make me happy to see something that's beautiful that sort of like alchemizes that energy for me. Um, and it's like really special too because the person who is doing it for me is somebody who worked for me years ago, and we've both like changed and evolved so much. And he's an amazing tattooer, so I'm very honored that I get to get tattooed by him and reconnect, you know. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of alchemy in tattooing, and I honestly feel like it's sort of the same idea. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of I don't remember the person who did the study on it, but it's like you can put energy into water, right? So like somebody would like say all this hateful stuff to the water and like put the label on the water, and then they'd put it in the microscope and like the water would like look crazy. Um that's how I feel about these tattoos. Like they just need something that kind of like heals them, you know? Um And it's also like to me, I have had such a hard time, and it's so funny because like I am so good at like telling other people to do the opposite of this because I see it so much like within myself. But it's like I have had such a hard time with like my own self-worth like my whole life. And just like standing in and speaking for like what is truly mine, like, right? So to be able to get something that like I really love and that's like really beautiful and that's like for me, like really truly is like me owning and standing up for myself in like a really big way because it's like you see this stuff, you know, and it's just, I feel like it just like the thing that I'm getting is just going to look so much more like legit and like intentional. And and I honestly, I really truly believe like, you know, you can tell you can tell somebody's character by the caliber of tattoos on them too. And I don't I have been around it a long time, and I can tell you right now like people who are more artistic and more thoughtful and like like will invest in themselves, they respect themselves more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that like it's like a classism thing. I'm not saying that. I'm saying more like the more intention and like the I don't care how much it costs, I'm going to invest in something that like makes me feel and look beautiful. Like there I feel like those people respect themselves more and they see the value in the process. And it's not fair that so many tattoos on myself are not like that. You know what I mean? So it really is like this alchemy that's going to happen. So I'm really excited about that. And I think that I've pretty much explained all of my tattoos. But which one I have a question. So, which one do you think that I should be the saddest about letting go? Or which one do you love the most? Do you agree with this idea? I just want to get like some interaction and like talk about this a little bit if you feel called to. But yeah, thanks for listening to me and thanks for being a part of my tattoo tour. And I don't know, we'll see what I do next. All right, bye.